Okay. Like I talk to my friends. Some of my friends want kids.
Right.
Some people don't want kids. Okay? So if you want kids, have kids. You don't want kids, don't have kids. You want to be rich? Don't be an employee.
Okay.
You want to be rich? Be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
But it's a choice.
Right.
So this is the biggest problem. America is going to be the poorest country in the world starting now. You're going to see the biggest crashes happening right now. So that's good for me because the price of gold and silver go up.
That's interesting because most people in India until the last decade have been migrating to the US, thinking that is where is the land of opportunity to pursue the great American dream. Because I've read one of your articles where you mentioned that if the world crashes again, if you have another economic crisis, the price of Bitcoin would go to $1 million. So do you see that happening anytime soon?
It could. Yeah, I own Bitcoin. I don't have that many. I only have 60.
Okay. How many Bitcoins do you own, if you can share?
Huh?
How many Bitcoins do you own?
I just told you 60.
60 Bitcoins.
Yeah, not many.
That's a lot, but okay.
But I bought. I'm not very good technology-wise, but I do take investment courses.
Okay.
So I was watching Bitcoin do this.
Right.
So it up, down, up, down, up. People who want a paycheck, I give them all the paycheck they want. I create businesses. I create real estate. That's all my friends do.
So like how many businesses do you own today?
Quite a few. I really don't know anymore. I start one, I move off. Start one, move off. Same as Tata. I mean, I see his Tata on his trucks and all that stuff.
Right.
Do you think he's out there hammering Tata on his truck?
Right.
Same thing.
So, like, what do you think somebody who is, let's say I go back in time, not go back in time, let's say that you're a 20-year-old person today, starting from zero.
Be careful whose money you use, either the dollar or the yuan. So that's why I've been saying it's commodities, silver and gold.
Right.
This today is about $35 US. Okay, that's a lot of money here in India.
$35 or?
This is $35 US.
$35.
This is about 2,000.
Okay. Is that real?
No, they're fake.
Okay.
This is real.
Silver.
But anyway, so being a capitalist, I own gold mines
Okay.
and I own silver mines.
Okay.
So when the dollar crashes, I get richer.
Right.
Entrepreneurship.
That's like one, right? Like within that there are multiple facets.
That's all there is to me. I'm a capitalist.
So you'll venture into anything that you find is a opportunity.
I'm a capitalist. There's opportunities all over the place. I said, I was standing on stage, I said, a kid could be standing in the slums of Mumbai with a cell phone, become a billionaire. If it was in his head first. Because that cell phone gives you power all over the world. Then San Francisco went down, Washington went down, New York is going down. The slums of Mumbai are spreading across America. San Francisco used to be the most beautiful city in America, in my opinion. I worked in San Francisco and all that. Now you don't walk in the streets because it's like the slums of Mumbai.
I'll tell you one more interesting thing that's happening in India. So the builders are trying their best to clear out the slums. So what they're telling them is, I have built an apartment for you close by. Vacate your slums and stay there while I make another building over here so that you can occupy it later. But what these guys are actually doing, they got that apartment for free and they're giving it out for rent to somebody else and continuing to live in the slums. So that's an interesting development that's happening in the Mumbai slums.
Same thing happened in China.
Right.
The Chinese developers would go in and build high rises, never finish them, steal the money and run. So what happened in 2008, when the markets crashed, I borrowed $300 million. So we took my financial statement and showed it to the banks. We bought almost $1 billion worth of real estate because it crashed. So when I tell people the market's crashing, I get excited because everything goes on sale.
That's right.
I just told you, study. And I hang out. How many friends have billionaires in your name?
How many friends?
How many billionaire friends do you have?
I have like 2.
They're billionaires,
Yeah.
US dollars.
Yes.
Well, then hang out with them.
I do that. I just started about 6 months back.
Yeah. my friends, but most of my friends are billionaires.
Be it as simple as just having cash, like you pointed out. Then there is commodities like gold and silver. Then there is the stock market, mutual funds, ETFs, real estate, cryptocurrencies. So many options. So according to you, which asset class is which you're most bullish on in the coming decade or few decades?
Well, that's a good question. America is sliding into depression right now. What I said, it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. But it's Russia, China versus America right now. It's the biggest battle in history going on today. And the dollar is going to lose. You got to study, man. You've got to study.
Okay.
I studied. You can ask my friends. I study constantly.
You study constantly?
Constantly.
Like every day?
I'm on YouTube every day, all day.
Okay.
I'm reading books, studying this. I'm talk to my friends and all this.
Okay.
I'm not looking for a job. I'm not working for money. That's why the one book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Second book is Cash Flow Quadrant. Third book is Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. I put it all in there. You can read that. Then I create the cash flow board game. And if you play the cash flow board game, the reason it's better than going to school. So if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I said, I don't work for money. I work for gold and silver. I do not save dollars.
Okay.
I use debt to buy real estate.
Right.
I pay no taxes legally.
Yeah.
And I save gold and silver. And since I was a little boy, I've been saving so much gold and silver, I now own the richest gold mine in America.
Which is?
It's called the Trixie, but it's on the New York Stock Exchange.
And what we've seen over the last decade is that the income inequality has magnified. I saw an interesting stat that 10 years back, around 50 years back, the top 1% of the world controlled around 6 to 7% of the world's wealth.
Amen.
And today, the top 1% of the world controls around 20 to 25% of the world's wealth. So my question to you is, is that sustainable, or would that, if that income disparity keeps increasing, would the world eventually collapse due to war?
I put the deal together. I don't.
But how do you make money out of that?
You put deals together. You put the management team in place, you put the financing in place, and you get it to work. I put businesses together that produce money.
And they don't require much of your time because the systems are set in place.
No, you have to hire people with MBAs. I hire stupid employees with MBAs. I don't have to lie, cheat, or steal to make my money.
True. Interesting. So I also heard that that interesting topic where you said that the rich don't pay taxes and they use debt. I read the story about how Elon Musk uses
He uses debt and not pay taxes.
Yes,
because this is debt.
Right.
This is debt.
He raises debt with his stock options, and then he uses that money for his expenditure.
Correct.
That's how he does.
Well, Elon Musk also used tax breaks.
Because it is so ingrained in our mind that buying a house is the American dream when it comes to US.
Yes.
And in India, it's like buying a house means finally your life is sorted or life is set. But I differ from that, because I feel like if you prioritize of buying a house which you live in very early on in your life, because in India you can't get married if you don't own your own house, because the bride's family will ask for that. Okay, does he own a house? And because of that pressure, young Indian males are buying a house in their mid-20s and getting into 20 to 30-year home loans, which kind of gets them bonded to working 9-to-5 jobs for the next 20-30 years, which they can't take any risk. So I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about buying a home? Because it's very difficult to convince Indians, and I get a lot of lashback when I say that. Don't buy a house, delay that purchase, focus on building assets which pay you more money. But people decide, who does it impact and how?
Well, there's inflation.
Right.
So right now, in America, I'm sure it's here too, many people can't afford to eat anymore.
It has become expensive.
Yeah, the homeless people in America, some of them are drugs, obviously. A lot of them just can't afford a house.
Right. Same is the situation.
Yeah, because this is toilet paper. And our school teachers will never tell us this, because the school teachers are Marxists. They're good people.
Can you tell briefly what a Marxist means?
It's always been that way. There's a thing called Pareto's principle. It's called the 80-20 rule.
Right.
So like 80% of the people are poor, 20% are rich.
Right.
There's another rule, I don't know the name of it, it's a 90-10. In America, 10% of Americans own everything. The reason there's such a gap is our schools teach us to work for this.
Yeah.
Go to school, get a job,
Right.
work hard, pay taxes,
Yeah.
save money, buy a house, and put your money in the stock market.
Right.
I don't touch any of that. I'm an entrepreneur. I'd rather be like Mr. Tata,
Right.
who owns the stock market.
So you touched upon an important topic, buying a house.
But the most important asset you have is this.
Right. The
You know,
mind.
the space between this here and this here. And the thing that I'm happy about is young men like you, young women too, have podcasts. There's some very smart people on podcasts now. Better than listening to a stupid college professor
Right.
who doesn't know anything about money. Why would you listen to a poor dad like my father?
Right.
Stupid. So on the podcast today, there's some very smart young people coming up. Like I fly from here to Singapore, and I meet Jim Rogers. Jim Rogers is one of the smartest investors in the world. This is fake money, and you guys all been taught to work for this garbage.
But the problem started, like, I mean, for the longest time, that paper money was pegged to dollar, the gold. And then once they made it fiat, and when they could just print how much ever they want, that's when the problem started. What do you say?
Yes, this is fake. Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, so 71 a dollar became fake. I'm an oil man, so Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. This became fake, but the economy boomed. Real estate boomed because they were printing this as fast as they wanted to. What do you want? What do you guys want? That's the question. But unfortunately, our schools program us: go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, pay taxes, buy a house, and invest in the stock market.
That's exciting because
I don't do any of that.
So that is very interesting because the vast majority of the people are actually working for three people. One is the government by paying taxes.
Everybody
And you
does.
mentioned this. The second thing is you work for the bank because you take loans to buy your car and house.
Correct.
And the third one is you work for your boss because you work in a company. And the more you work, harder you work, then you're just making your boss rich. So you're only working for three people, and they're sucking out most of your money. That's how for the vast majority.
But they also give you money.
So in a country like India, right now, if you see the teenagers, 15 to 20-year-old teenagers, what we've been told by our parents is to focus on, becoming a doctor or an engineer, because that's like the safest route to, securing your life in a country like India. But what baffles me is that there are so many examples of people who made a lot of money. So what baffles me is that we are only taught how to make money, but the schools never teach us how to manage that money. Like, why do you think that's the situation across the world? Even in a prosperous country like US, that is the situation. So why is that happening, and are things changing?
Thanks for watching.